All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the September 23rd Octant Community Meeting. Let me get the agenda shared here, and we'll jump right into it. So, face. There we go. So today we are going to talk about the next release, 0.16. We'll do a quick demo of that. We'll do a preview of some navigation stuff that Milan has been working on. Go over maybe some Hacktober Fest good first issues, or not. We'll see. Talk about some streaming stuff, and then also talk about a upcoming session that is going to be involving Octant. So 0.16. So we met this morning briefly during our stand-up and decided that there was one minor outstanding issue around the YAML modal change that went into master recently that we wanted to have fixed. But once that's in place, we're going to go ahead and start coding 0.16 today. So I wanted to walk through a demo of kind of like the just 0.16. So let me see. I think I have it somewhere. I think, you know, you'd think I would show up prepared for this, knowing that I was going to do a demo, but that's okay. Well, it says it's already. I should have Octant running. It says it's already running. Where you at, Octant? All right. You know what? Fine. I'll just do what I got to do, and there. Okay. Get Octant started here. So some of the features that, you know, that's what I can show. Instead of just sitting on this page, I can show some of the features that are in Octant while I wait for it to start. Are we already in Biggin? No, let me in Biggin. All right, change logs. Unreleased. So this is our set of unreleased changes that are going to be coming in 0.16, and I'll show kind of a lot of these in the demo, but some of them are backend things. So I just want to cover the backend things here.
Yes. Just quickly.
And the so this one is the default provided namespaces. There was this weird bug where if you provided a namespace, but then you didn't have permission to list namespaces, or you provided a list of namespaces but didn't provide an initial namespace, even though you set the namespaces, it would still pop up an error saying like, oh no, that's a problem. So we fixed that by just setting the initial namespace to your, or setting the namespace list to your initial one if you set it. Okay, looks like I've got Octant built and running now, so I can just start to demo those things. Is there anything? There was a fix to the gRPC messaging size to the API client. That's also a backend fix that's going in. I think everything else is a front end. I'll be able to show it in the front end. So let me get that pulled up. So this is the current master that we're going to be basing 0.16 off from. Immediately you'll see that the icons here have been updated. So they now will show, there's an icon detail as well as the color for the status of things. So that's helpful for people who can't see colors, specifically, you know, red, green. So the other thing is the supply YAML is now in a modal. Before it would take you to a whole new page. Now it's contained here. The nice thing about that is if you're doing something where you're in some workflow somewhere and you have context for what you're trying to do, when you apply it through here, you're not taken out into a whole new path. So you can still be on the page that you're interested in when you go do that. Another thing that we did is this little keyboard shortcut here. So Control/ will pull up a keyboard shortcut list. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And now we actually tell you what things are available in Octant. I forget sometimes what the shortcuts are. So this is just put in there because I was annoyed at always having to go grep the code for what the quick switcher was, just Control-Enter, which leads me to the next change that we have, which is some improvement to the quick switcher that Sam made. If you pull up the quick switcher, you can now see that there's no, my browser, it's a double scroll, but that's all right. It's better than it was before. So as you search through this thing and you go through the list, you are able to, what's one that has, you're able to see and move through the list without it pushing the entry window out of the way or making what you can see inaccessible. You can see that double scroll bar has now gone away. I don't know. The other cool thing here that Sam did, though, is you can now switch namespaces through the quick switcher. So, you know, if I wanted to change over to Sam's namespace, I can now do that right through the quick switcher, which is a pretty cool feature, and it makes it really easy to move around Octant now using the keyboard. So that's all there. You can Control/ now, get your list of shortcuts, and move through. The other one that was added was the Control-Y, which was that? Is that not it? What is Y? I did Control-Y. Is that? There it is. Control-Y to apply YAML. So that can be accessed anywhere within Octant as well. Let's see, what else was there that I wanted to show? Let's go back. So that was the one that Scott added is this 404. So previously in Octant, when you deleted something, it would shoot you up to, Sam doesn't have anything of his I can delete, so I'll go to my namespace. Previously, if you're on a page like this and you deleted this pod, Octant would just send you back up a page, and in some cases that was fine, but it really wasn't great. And it also meant that when you tried to go to a page where you were expecting something to be created, so like you were applying some YAML and you deleted a deployment and then you reapplied it, and you were still on the same deployment, so it was going to have the same name, instead of that page like saying it's not found and then coming back and refreshing, what would happen is that you'd just be redirected up and you'd have to re-navigate to it. So now if you are on a page and something gets deleted, eventually as this thing is deleted, this page will switch to a not found page like that. And then once you're presented with this, you can then choose to go back up a level, use the back button, and then we tossed in a little fun thing where it's just like, hey, if you don't want to do either of those things, why not go learn about the Constellation Octant? So in my case, I'll go back up a level. I'll see my pod pending being created, and then now I can go in and view the new pod. So it just creates a workflow that is less distracting, less jarring, and it doesn't bounce you all over the place unexpectedly. So that's a nice little feature. The other thing we added, which was to logging, has been a long time popular request. We implemented it as a sense dropdown where you can now select all of the logs you want to see. So this is a bad choice because I just deleted and recreated it, but you know, I could see all the logs for the last 5 hours or since creation, which apparently is broken. So that'll get fixed before we cut this release. So I'm making an issue for that right now. I think that's I just recently changed the name of that. So that might be my local branch actually. So I'll go to something that has logs so you can see this kind of working. There also is a fix coming in right now. So you see what I just did? I switched namespaces and then I got this not found page. This is an instance where we actually do want to redirect you up to the new namespace overview. Sam just put up a PR that will be in 0.16 that handles this case, where if you switch namespaces, we will take you up to the new overview namespace that you're switching to, so that you're not sitting at this not found page, just waiting for what's never going to come. So I think I have some, I have some longer running pods in here that have logs. So you can see now this actually pulled up very quickly. It's the last 5 minutes of logs. If we look at the timestamp here, there's a 12:06, and it scrolls it back, and we've got our 17:12. Scroll it back, we've got 17:07, and then logs will continue to come out of here. So this is the since is like the starting position. Now I could say 3 hours, and you'll see now this gets a lot larger, right? And we've got logs for the last 3 hours, and they're just spitting out. And I can still filter, still move through them. But so much nicer when you're coming into view a pod. The logs load pretty instantly since it's only grabbing the last 5 minutes, and then you can increase your there's a word for that. In like time slice databases use it. Increase your whatever that thing that it's called. And I think what am I missing? What didn't I cover here? I think that's most of it. Yeah, just some bug fixes. That'll all be in the change logs, but we just wanted to give folks a preview of kind of what was coming up. There's some back end things that are not here that are merged in, or things that are kind of hidden, which will be in the change logs, but don't really work for a demo because there's nothing to really see. So yeah, look out for that full set of release information. And that's all I got for the 0.16 demo.
Well, I have something that's do I have anything? Something that's not turned on yet. Actually, I've been meaning to show you all this anyway, so maybe this would be a good time for me to show you.
That'd be excellent. Yeah.
All right. So, let me. How can I make this short? Okay. We've been thinking for a while about how. Let me turn my light on here. About how we could, as we move to making Octant more of a desktop application, there's things that we've done that make it hard to be a desktop application. Like one thing is we spit logs right out to the console, so you need that window up. That might be fine on Linux, but for Windows and the Mac, where do those logs go? Maybe the console, maybe somewhere else. So trying to figure out a way to actually be able to show those logs in line with the application. So one of the things that is in 0.16 but is not enabled is this concept of a bottom panel, which will one day hold these logs. And I've gone way ahead in the code and have been working on what does that actually look like. So what I can do is I can show you a preview. This will be merged in a few commits. But let me show you a preview of something that we'll be able to do. And we'll also be doing this for events as well. So, and let's find a window. So here's Octant. And I will bump the font twice. No, just once. All right, so here's Octant. And this is pretty close to 0.16. I'm a few versions off. This branch is more of a long-term thing that I merge into other branches periodically. But one of the things you'll notice different on this page is that there is a slider. There's something down at the bottom. And what I can do is I can pull it up. And what it is now is the Octant logs. These are the same logs that we were actually shipping to the command line, and we're just multiplexing them now. They're still going to the command line, but now we can actually see this throughout the app. And what this is there is definitely some layering, some z-index issues here. But what this is just a way that we can actually show this inside of the app. So just in real time. So what I'm going to do in another window that you're not going to be able to see is I'm going to change a plugin that I have. And Wayne's demoed the plugins, the JavaScript plugins before, and they pretty much, and they all run basically updates in real time. So what I will do here is, let me actually make a change to my plugins here. Let me reload this thing. 1 second. So I have a plugin watcher running in my other window. So what's happening is the plugins are building, and as they're building, you notice that it actually changed in real time. This is so it's actually loading, and what we notice is oh, there's an error here too. So rather than having to go to the command line to actually see it, you can see it within the browser. And what I've done here, this is now we're in the experimentation phase. What should the screen look like? So right now I'm using this panel metaphor where you can see the text of the message, the type of message, and the time. But then you can also, but you can go into the panel and we can see that there was an error generated, and we have rich error messages within Octant. So we can do things like we can actually show you where it was, and that we can also generate stack traces. More useful for us developers than anyone else, but also useful for bug reports. One neat thing about this panel is that it is its own thing. So notice I'm changing the URI or the URL of the application, and the panel is still there. The way that this panel is being built is that it's actually multiple things all at once. So there's actually the bottom panel itself, and there's a container, and each one of these like Octant logs, or when we throw events in there, they're all their separate things. And just more ways to free up information to give people more context of what's going on. Really, the reason I wanted to do this is, let me drag this down, is I'll switch namespaces to, let's say, Cube System, because there'll be something there. Oh, no, actually, I want to switch it to, I have a GitOps system. And if I go look at my events, there's no events here. We were showing events, like we can show events for namespace, but I really wanted to be able to show events no matter where you are. So let's say if you did, you scaled up a workload where we could actually show that in the events, it would actually just populate at the bottom. So if you kept this window up, yeah, it's just a slightly bigger screen than the one I have now, you would actually be able to see those events. So you could actually see the cluster change in real time. So that's slowly coming. Two of the pieces are actually are in the 0.16 release, but they're behind feature flags, so they're not quite enabled yet. But we'll be working on this to make it more accessible and available to all the people. I'm done.
That's awesome. I really like that a lot. Yeah, it's really cool. Brian and I were talking about this the other day. It's really cool to see something that like so like I originally prototyped a slider view. Sam and I did it, and then it was okay. Kind of sucked, but it was okay. And then Brian came in and was like, "Oh, there's like a foundation of a good idea here. Let me make it better." And it's really cool to see a thing you like were like thought about and kind of did to someone come along and be like, "Oh, thank you. I'm gonna do this now," and like it's better. It's just like it's really nice.
That's the best part. So I didn't have to, it was not 100% original thought from me. So the implementation is different, but you know, there's people don't realize that if this is all a backend application, it'd be so much easier. Browsers are a very complex beast, so it sometimes becomes it's hard to do things in browsers. So it's nice to see good examples of things. So, but yeah, this is pretty much how Octant has been. Is that we're building ideas off of good ideas, and eventually they become great ideas. So hope to see more of this. And actually, I have like everything you've seen now. I don't want to submit a few thousand line PR, so I was trying to pull out the pieces separately so they can all be committed separately. And yeah, we're on a path.
Yeah, no, that's great. That looks good. I'm excited to be able to use that myself, because having to dip out to the console to see my plugin errors is currently the bane of my existence. So, So moving on, Milan, you had a navigation preview that you were, or some videos or something that you were going to share.
Yes.
Is that still cool?
Yes, I can do that. Let me make sure. Okay. I'm not sure this is the best time. I just can't top this, Brian and Wayne. Sorry, after 16, so many cool features on the bottom panel. But yeah, I've been working a little bit over navigation. We kind of feel it's time to revisit that. So let me switch to my camera. Can you see my screen?
Now I can. Yep.
All right. So yeah, so navigation, we addressed this maybe 6-9 months ago, and we built this navigation on the side that is has basically two states. One is collapsed, and the other one is expanded. And those two states basically cover two different kinds of users. The collapsed navigations is geared towards a more advanced user, and expanded that gives a little more text and shows the little more details for the novice users, that gives a little more description of things that are there. But the specialist stuff Brian was working on exposed some problems with this navigation. Unfortunately, clarity does not provide anything related to collapse navigation. So we were there on our own, and there was a lot of CSS hacks that we had to put in to make that work. So we thought this might be a good time to step back and kind of revisit that. And I did a few prototypes. One of them is, so basically there are two ways to approach this. One is to either to divide everything we have inside navigation into groups. Like you can see here, I have 4 groups. This is all prototype, so the icons are just temporary, and there's a lot of small problems that you'll probably run into, but that's okay. This is just to give you an idea. So this fixed the basic problem. There's now never too many items in the vertical navigation when it's collapsed, and it also shows everything at the very top, which is maybe not the best idea. So next thing I tried is, how about if we do something a little different? Maybe let's put those groups inside the navigation itself. So now they're not in the header, they're inside the navigation. And I was kind of excited about this one until I saw it. I think it may work, but especially in the compressed view, there's a lot of things going on there. Of course, those this first row of buttons, they don't have to be buttons, they can be tabs, and I'll show that option a little bit later on. But overall, I'm not sure I'm so happy with that. The other thing I tried is, as I said, changing those into tabs, making them a little bigger. So I think this is a little better in compressed view. There's still a lot of things we can do here with this space and dividing those a little better. And then you can see that in compressed, in expanded view, I changed the orientation, put those on top, and the both are still functional, and we still have kind of the same idea. We have this very compressed that does not show too much information, but gives way more space to the rest of the application. And in the same time, if you expand it, you can go back and
So,
you see
funny
also the
enough,
details.
whenever you expanded, this was an Octant at one time, and I don't know
Really?
who decided it didn't want to be in there anymore, but I think the team rebelled against me and said it shouldn't be in there. I still like it, so I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
I like the expanded view.
Right. Right. And, I mean, everything is, I think, on a table too. Maybe we need to go back and expand it view to be the default. That's another thing we can consider. So it kind of depends who are we mostly geared towards. If we, there's a huge variety of users with different needs. So that's a really good point. And then one last thing I wanted to show is, and this is, I have this running live. All right, so this is kind of mix of those two ideas. So you can see I put the groups back in header, but I put them in, I use the tabs. So you can still change the groups and there's not that many items here. But the idea that is probably one of my favorite how to solve this problem is in a compressed view is doing overflow menu. So basically we'll add the button at the bottom. If you click on it, everything, imagine there's a lot of items here and some of those can't fit. We'll show them here. And once you click on them, you'll be able to use it. So this list can be big too. So we are effectively doubling the amount of items we can show at the same time. I was actually thinking to do this horizontally, but I'm not sure that would work that well. And so I'm sorry, I kind of mixed those two ideas in one, but showing the tabs at the top is another option. Tabs in a header is another option. So I think I will probably try to solicit some feedback on this. So the issue we have on the left navigation redesign, I will add all those videos in there. So if you have any feedback on them, please enter it there. We can, kind of discuss it more. I hope this is enough information to head us going and try to discuss this and find the best solution. As Brian said, there's refining the ideas on top of the other ideas is definitely something we can do more.
Yeah, thank you for showing this. This is great. I'll be sure to add this feedback into the issue as well. But I prefer the icons on the left versus up in the header, and then I do like the expanded view where the icons flip to the top. But also I think that it's such a common pattern to just have the icon be on the left-hand side in like in a lot of applications, Slack,
Right.
VS Code, Discord, the other Goland, even like the way the menus work, people are used to having that large icon on the left. I think if you expand and your large icon shoots up to the top, it just feels yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of movement. It's a lot of changing
Right.
where my mouse wants to go.
Right.
But this looks great. I think that we can definitely build on this. I think we're going down the right path now. This we should definitely have overflow for the big column, for the big buttons. That'll be really important. I'm wondering if it's like a combination of this view here, the expanded view, with the left-hand side being icons still,
Right.
so like where our top level navigation is always the icons, and they don't expand. And then when you click it, you essentially get this view that is your list of things, right? It's a pretty common pattern, and
Right, so
I like
like
it a lot.
Slack, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's I like that too. And as you said, it seems to be established pattern, especially in Electron apps. So
Yeah, and then the nice thing is then we can get into, like, once we're an Electron app, we can get into they can set hotkeys for each of those things, and we can save that in the preferences that Brian did, and like then we get into actually being able to like configure the nav in a way that people expect it to, and like show like, oh, you just do this shortcut to go to namespace overview, and this shortcut to go to cluster overview, and like I think that, yeah, this is way better than what we have now. I think we're definitely on the right path.
awesome. Thank you. Any other feedback, Sam, Scott? I can see Brian left, but
Yeah, I've been wondering a little bit about that slider toggle. It takes up a lot of real estate for what it actually does.
yes.
And I don't have a good design language for it, but like like something can, like that probably can even, I don't know if it can even go away at some point, and we could just.
That's what I think. I think it can go away if we move. Like, I'm okay saying the top level items are there as icons, and then so that, because the reason we put that toggle there was because we wanted to make it easy to navigate through top level things without having all of the frustration of having everything in your view at once while you're moving through top level things. But now you move to a top level thing, and all you see are the menus for that top level thing. So it kind of solves our nested menu problem. And I think we could probably move to a top level is collapsed as big icons, and then when you click it, you get the expanded menu. And honestly, if you watch most people use Octant, the first thing they do is expand out the menu.
Oh, really?
Like, you watch demos and you watch people, like, it's the first thing they do is they go and they click the little thing to expand it. And I'm like, well, maybe it should just be expanded.
Right. No, I agree, and I especially agree with the slider button. It's just it's using too much space.
Yeah, and so if the slider's gone and everything's collapsed, like the top level things are collapsed to the left,
Right.
and then when you click on them, you get the full menu of just that item. Then I think that's,
So yeah, so it's kind of combination of
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
So the groups on the left plus the expanded view and no slider.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's a good next step to go to. I'll probably work on that.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. And then the groups on the left, I think the overflow for the groups on the left, I think is going to be important. We'll want to have that.
Right.
I think the main like the content, the thing that is expanded, that can be as it is now, right? Where it accordions and scrolls, right? That's fine. But the groups on the left should, if we ever add that many modules or whatever, they should have the overflow.
Cool. That sounds good. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Yeah, that was a great demo. Thank you for showing it.
Sure.
So moving on to the next issue, or not issue, but next topic is the Hacktober Fest Good First Issues. Let me.
That's me. I wrote that down. This one is just more of a general call out for DigitalOcean having Hacktober Fest thing where they encourage people to make contributions to open source projects, and they send people t-shirts and stickers, and who doesn't like swag. And so I think we could probably try to just run off of that wave and tag things as first issues as we see appropriate, and just encourage people to just take a look at what Octant is, especially for people who are just looking to contribute open source for the first time. I feel like we could definitely create opportunities there.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. If we curate it and we say, like, if you take on one of the Hacktoberfest issues or one of our labeled good first issues, then, we'll, because what we want to avoid is, like, in projects I've worked on in the past, is the one line or typo commits where everyone's just like, you have like 50 PRs and it's all like one line changes and someone's like, add whatever, add double spacing after all commas in the thing. I'm like, come on, it's like Oxford comma stuff or what. Like, you get these crazy PRs if you just open it up. So I think curating it and saying, like, here's our set of issues that we're gonna help people with and have specifically triage for that is a good idea. So yeah, I think we can do something. A blog post on octant.dev would probably be good to follow up with, which I can, if you want to if we all want to triage issues as we see them, I can take on the responsibility of doing the octant.dev blog post, since Sam did the last blog post. The other item is the streaming of meetings. So a lot of people watch this meeting after they happen on the YouTube playlist that is shared in the VMware Cloud Native Apps YouTube channel. So we will be shortly, hopefully next week, be streaming these meetings to YouTube as well. So very similar to TGIK. And we expect that will help people get a little bit more access to the meeting, because we noticed that the community meetings receive anywhere between 40 to 100 views online after they're posted. And so maybe some of you who are out there watching would like to engage with us in real time, but don't want to commit to a Zoom meeting, because there's a big difference between logging onto a YouTube stream and signing into a Zoom meeting. So we'll be doing that. The other thing is, it means they'll be there as soon as they're done. So I will no longer have to go and manually upload them, which is the main motivation for getting the streaming enabled. Laziness on my part. That's what motivates all developers, right? And then finally, the last thing, I guess I'll share my screen for this one, because there's the website that I'll show when I do that. Share screen. Okay. So there is a VMware Code Connect conference coming up on October 1st. And I am doing a session which is called Octant, an open source platform for Kubernetes UIs. This session is going to be a brief overview of Octant from just like a usage and what it does standpoint. And it's really going to focus on plugins specifically. And in this session, I will walk folks through building a plugin using the TypeScript API. And so if you're interested in learning more about building plugins with Octant and kind of how Octant is all connected together, then I encourage people to come to that session or watch it later, because it's at like 9:30 in the morning, and that might be too early for some people. Wait, is that 9:30 Pacific time? Never mind, that should be fine. For some reason I thought it was 9:30 Eastern. Anyway, that is it. Do we have any All right. Well, with that, thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next week.